Chosen one, the rejection you experienced was never proof that you were unworthy. It was proof that your future could not fit inside the limited understanding of the people around you. There is a reason certain doors closed, even when you gave your best effort. There is a reason some people walked away just when you needed support the most. And there is a reason you often felt misunderstood in places where you tried so hard to belong. What you did not realize at the time is that heaven was separating you from environments that could only recognize your current struggle, but could not recognize your future potential. They judged you based on the season you were surviving instead of the person you were becoming. They saw your delays, your uncertainty, and your quiet battles, but they could not see the strength, wisdom, and purpose that were being built inside you through every painful moment. Listen carefully, because this message is not reaching you by accident. Something is shifting in your life now, and the rejection that once broke your heart is beginning to make sense in a completely different way. You were never meant to stay connected to places that required you to shrink your spirit just to feel accepted. You were never meant to spend your life chasing validation from people who only understood smaller versions of you. The reason you felt different is because your path was always leading somewhere bigger than their comfort zone could handle. Chosen one, many people can only understand what matches their current mindset. And when your spirit carries something greater, something deeper, and something destined for growth, it often creates distance instead of understanding. That distance hurt you at first because you thought rejection meant failure. But heaven says the separation was protection. The closed doors were redirection, and the loneliness you felt during certain seasons was preparing you to discover your true identity outside of other people's opinions. Stay with this message until the end, because the final confirmation will reveal why the rejection that once made you question your worth is about to become the very reason your life changes direction completely. You are not being left behind. You are being guided toward a future that the people around you were never capable of seeing clearly. Type Amen if you believe your future is bigger than the rejection you survived. Chosen one, one of the most painful parts of rejection was realizing that people only judged you by the season you were in, instead of the destiny you carried within you. They saw moments where you struggled, where you felt uncertain, where your life looked delayed or incomplete, and they assumed that was your final identity. They never imagined that your difficult season was only temporary preparation for something far greater. Many people around you became so focused on what you lacked in the moment that they completely missed the strength heaven was building inside you privately. They saw the pressure, but not the perseverance. They saw the silence, but not the wisdom forming within your spirit. They saw the waiting season, but not the transformation quietly taking place beneath it. That misunderstanding hurt deeply because part of you genuinely wanted to be seen, understood, and accepted for who you truly were. Instead, you often felt overlooked in rooms where you gave your best energy. You felt unseen by people you cared about. You carried emotional battles silently while trying to keep moving forward without letting your pain consume you completely. Chosen one, heaven saw every moment you questioned your worth because of how others treated you. There were nights when rejection made you wonder if something was wrong with you. You questioned whether you were simply too different, too emotional, too ambitious, or too difficult for others to understand. But the truth is much deeper than that. The rejection was never happening because you lacked value. It was happening because your future could not remain attached to environments that only recognized your temporary struggle instead of your long-term purpose. Some people can only understand who you are based on what they can currently see. And when your destiny has not fully revealed itself yet, they misjudge you according to appearances instead of potential. They could not see where your life was heading because heaven had not revealed it yet. They only saw the unfinished version of your journey. What they failed to realize is that some of the strongest people go through seasons where nothing outwardly reflects what is truly being built within them. Your waiting season was not punishment. It was preparation. Every delay was developing emotional endurance, spiritual maturity, and deeper wisdom inside you. Chosen one, the reason your path often felt lonely is because growth separates you from people who are only comfortable with the smaller version of you. There were individuals who preferred you uncertain because your uncertainty made them feel safer around you. There were environments where your potential quietly intimidated people who were unwilling to grow themselves. You may not have understood it at first, but your spirit carried something bigger than the spaces you were trying to remain connected to. That is why certain relationships became difficult to maintain as your awareness started changing. Heaven was teaching you not to measure your worth by how easily others accepted you. Some of the greatest redirections in your life came disguised as rejection because staying in those environments would have limited your growth completely. What felt like loss was often divine separation, guiding you away from places where your future could not fully develop. Chosen one, the pain of being misunderstood shaped you in ways you are only beginning to recognize now. It forced you to stop depending entirely on external validation. It taught you how to keep believing in yourself even when people doubted your path. It taught you how to survive emotionally difficult seasons without allowing bitterness to consume your spirit. And most importantly, it taught you how to recognize that your value does not decrease simply because someone else lacks the vision to understand your journey. Heaven allowed certain people to walk away because they were connected to a chapter you were never meant to stay in forever. Your future required different environments, different perspectives, and different levels of growth. The rejection that once wounded your confidence is now becoming the very thing that pushed you toward discovering your real purpose. Stay with this message because the next part will reveal why the future they failed to recognize is finally beginning to open before you now. Type 1111 if rejection taught you strength that nobody else could see. Chosen one, the future they failed to recognize is no longer hidden the way it once was. Something is beginning to open in your life now that will slowly reveal why certain people could never walk this path with you. The same rejection that once made you question your worth is now becoming the reason you are finally stepping into alignment with who you were always meant to become. Heaven is beginning to move things into place quietly behind the scenes, and even if everything has not fully appeared yet, your spirit can already feel that the direction of your life is changing. The heaviness that once followed you constantly is starting to lift. The confusion that clouded your thoughts for so long is beginning to clear. And the version of yourself that spent years doubting whether anything would ever improve is slowly being replaced by someone who is starting to believe in their future again. This shift did not happen overnight. It was built through every painful season you survived without completely giving up on yourself. Chosen one, many of the delays you experienced were preparing you emotionally and spiritually for the life that is now trying to enter your hands. If certain opportunities had arrived earlier, you would not have been fully prepared to sustain them. Heaven was not withholding your future to punish you. Heaven was developing the version of you that could handle greater responsibility, deeper peace, and a more aligned life without self-sabotaging it through old wounds or emotional fear. Now that inner transformation is beginning to reflect outwardly. You may already notice yourself thinking differently, responding differently, and protecting your peace in ways you never did before. Situations that once emotionally consumed you no longer hold the same power. You are no longer chasing validation from people who failed to appreciate your worth. Instead, your focus is beginning to shift toward growth, healing, stability, and purpose. This is how you know the new season has already started internally before it fully appears externally. Chosen one, the doors opening in your life now are connected to the stronger version of yourself that emerged through rejection. You are beginning to attract opportunities, ideas, and connections that align more naturally with your spirit. Conversations feel different. Your intuition feels stronger. Your desire for peace has become greater than your need to prove yourself to everyone around you. This is because your energy is no longer tied to the same emotional desperation that existed during your hardest seasons. Heaven is teaching you how to move from alignment instead of survival. There is also a deeper confidence forming within you now. Not the loud confidence that seeks attention, but a quiet confidence built through endurance. You survived moments that emotionally broke parts of you, yet somehow you kept moving forward. That survival changed your perspective completely. You now understand that rejection does not define your future. Delays do not erase your purpose, and misunderstanding does not diminish your value. In fact, many of the people who rejected you simply lacked the spiritual vision to recognize what heaven was building within your life. They judged you according to temporary appearances, while heaven was preparing permanent transformation. Chosen one, this next chapter will feel different because you are no longer trying to force yourself into places where your spirit feels restricted. You are becoming more intentional about where your energy goes. You are recognizing that peace is more valuable than constant approval. And because of that awareness, your path is beginning to open more clearly than before. The future that once felt distant is slowly becoming visible. Opportunities that once seemed impossible are beginning to move closer. Emotional healing is restoring parts of your spirit that rejection once damaged deeply. Heaven is rebuilding your confidence step by step so you can walk into your next season without carrying the same fear that once held you back. As this transformation continues, you will begin to understand why certain people could never fully recognize your value. Your destiny was never meant to remain small enough for everyone to understand comfortably. Some paths are designed to be walked through faith long before they are understood by others. Stay with this message because the next part will reveal why you had to completely outgrow the places that rejected you and why your future could never fully unfold while remaining attached to those old environments. Type ready if you feel your life beginning to shift in a new direction. Chosen one. One of the hardest truths you had to learn is that not every place you felt emotionally attached to was truly meant to hold your future. Some environments only knew how to accept the smaller version of you, the version that doubted itself, stayed quiet to avoid conflict, and constantly sacrificed its peace just to feel included. But as your spirit began growing, those same places started feeling heavier, more limiting, and emotionally exhausting because your destiny was slowly pulling you beyond what those environments could understand. The rejection you experienced was painful, but it was also revealing something important. You were outgrowing spaces that could no longer support the person you were becoming. Heaven never intended for you to remain trapped in environments where your growth made others uncomfortable. There were people who only felt secure around you when you questioned your own worth. There were situations where your silence benefited everyone except you. And there were relationships where your energy was constantly being drained because you were trying to earn acceptance from people who were never capable of fully seeing your value. Chosen one, staying in those spaces would have slowly disconnected you from your purpose. That is why separation became necessary, even when it hurt deeply. At first, you interpreted the rejection as proof that you were not enough. But over time, heaven began showing you that some doors closed because your future required more than those places could offer you. You were trying to fit your expanding spirit into environments that only understood limitation, fear, and comfort. The more you evolved internally, the more uncomfortable those environments became because growth naturally creates distance between you and what no longer aligns with your path. This is why your perspective has changed so much recently. You are no longer desperate to be understood by everyone around you. You are beginning to realize that not everyone is meant to walk beside you into your next season. Some people were connected to a chapter of your life, not your final destination. Chosen one, this understanding brings both peace and emotional maturity. You are learning how to release people, habits, and environments without carrying guilt for choosing your own growth. That does not mean you hate anyone. It simply means your spirit can no longer shrink itself just to maintain connections that disturb your peace. Heaven is teaching you how to honor your future by protecting your energy. You are becoming more discerning about where you invest your time, your emotions, and your attention, because you finally understand how valuable your peace truly is. The old version of you tolerated emotional confusion for too long because you feared loneliness. But now you are discovering that temporary loneliness is far healthier than constantly abandoning yourself to remain accepted in the wrong places. Chosen one, the environments that rejected you were never capable of carrying the fullness of your destiny. Your future required expansion, deeper healing, stronger boundaries, and a completely different level of awareness. That kind of growth cannot happen while remaining emotionally attached to places that continuously pull you backward into old patterns. This is why your spirit has become more selective recently. You are no longer forcing conversations that feel draining. You are no longer chasing people who only appreciate your presence when you overextend yourself emotionally. And you are no longer willing to ignore your intuition just to avoid disappointing others. Heaven is rebuilding your relationship with yourself after years of placing everyone else's comfort above your own well-being. As this transformation continues, you will notice something powerful happening within you. The rejection that once shattered your confidence is no longer controlling your identity. Instead, it is becoming proof that your path was always leading somewhere different. You are beginning to understand that your future could never fully unfold while remaining connected to environments that required you to stay small. The separation was painful because growth often is. But the pain was not meant to destroy you. It was meant to redirect you toward alignment. Stay with this message, because the final confirmation will reveal why the rejection that once felt like an ending is actually becoming the foundation for the life heaven was preparing for you all along. Type "let go" if you are finally releasing the places and people that no longer align with your future. Chosen one, this is your confirmation that the rejection you once cried over is becoming the very reason your life is finally moving toward the future heaven prepared for you all along. What once felt like abandonment was actually redirection. What once felt like failure was protection. And what once made you question your worth is now revealing the strength, wisdom, and resilience that were built inside you through every painful season you survived. The people who walked away only saw your temporary struggle. They only saw the version of you that was still healing, still searching, still trying to understand why life felt so heavy. But heaven saw the future version of you long before anyone else could recognize it. Heaven saw the strength being developed through your loneliness, the wisdom forming through your disappointments, and the emotional maturity growing through every season where you had to keep moving forward without clear answers. Chosen one, nothing you went through was wasted. Every closed door forced you closer to the path you were truly meant to walk. Every rejection pulled you away from environments that could never fully support your destiny. And every painful ending created space for something more aligned to eventually enter your life. You are beginning to understand now that your journey was never meant to look ordinary. Your spirit was designed for growth that required separation from certain people, places, and emotional patterns. That is why you often felt different even when you tried so hard to fit in. Deep within yourself, your spirit already knew you were not meant to stay confined to spaces that limited your growth. The pain came from trying to remain connected to environments that no longer matched who you were becoming. But now your perspective is changing. You are no longer asking why certain people rejected you. Instead, you are beginning to see why your future required distance from them in the first place. This realization is bringing a deeper peace into your life because you are no longer measuring your value through the approval of others. Chosen one, heaven is teaching you how to trust your path even when not everyone understands it. Some of the greatest transformations happen privately, long before they become visible publicly. That is exactly what happened in your life. While others judged your delays, heaven was building your endurance. While others misunderstood your silence, heaven was developing your wisdom. And while others focused on your current struggles, heaven was preparing opportunities, growth, healing, and alignment that your old environment could never contain. You are now stepping into a season where your life begins reflecting the inner transformation you fought so hard to achieve. The confidence returning to you is different now because it is not built on external validation. It is built on survival. You know what it feels like to rebuild yourself after disappointment. You know what it feels like to continue forward when nobody truly understands your journey. And because of that, there is now a quiet strength within you that cannot easily be shaken. Chosen one, the future ahead of you will not resemble the painful seasons behind you, because you are no longer the same person who entered those battles. You have become wiser about who deserves access to your energy. You have become stronger emotionally, more discerning spiritually, and more intentional about protecting your peace. The rejection that once wounded your spirit is now becoming the foundation of your transformation because it forced you to stop depending entirely on the acceptance of people who were never assigned to your future. Heaven was always guiding you somewhere greater than what you lost. As you continue moving forward, you will begin noticing more clarity, more alignment, and more peace entering your life naturally. Opportunities that once felt impossible will begin opening at the right time. Relationships that align with your spirit will feel healthier and more balanced. And most importantly, you will finally understand that rejection was never proof that you were unworthy. It was proof that your future was simply too big for certain people to understand while you were still becoming who you were meant to be. Type Amen if you believe heaven was redirecting your life towards something greater all along.